Welcome to the Go for Diamond call this evening. And folks, this evening the call is very, very important. It's about following up. Just before we begin the call, just want to remind everybody that we do have a calendar. And ActiveTeam.com is a team website. It's not a branded website. It's simply a website that contains all the information that Tammy and I use as we travel around the world. All the PowerPoints that we use and that we have trained are available there under the document directory. All the video that we do, such as this one this evening, is also recorded, and you can find that under Go for Diamond Call on the video section, since they are recorded with visual. And also want to remind you that we do have a calendar. And if you do have an event that you want to promote and you want people to be aware of, feel free to post your event there. Just keep in mind that people may call in to want to attend. When you go to ActiveTeam.com, you need to go to the bottom portion of the page, not the top. If you click on calendar, it will take you to the calendar page. But if you want to add your event, you need to go to the bottom of the page, and from there it will say add to the calendar, and then you can just post your event. Okay? So at this point, Tammy and I wanted to share with you a very important topic, as I stated as we were introducing. And I'm going to let Tammy take over here and kind of talk about the importance of following up before we begin.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the call. This is absolutely my favorite part. I know a lot of people miss out on this part, and that is why they don't get the leverage that they want in growing their business. So we're going to get very specific tonight on what's critical in the follow-up process. But before we go there, what's important to know is we have the duplication cycle. And this is something that you need to be doing over and over and over and over. It's critical. You need to be constantly adding new people to the list, because not everybody is going to say yes. So you always have somebody in the pipeline. We like to call it in the pipeline. So the more people you have in the pipeline evaluating and going through the process, the more you're going to build an organization. So you need to ask yourself, are you putting enough people through the information so that they can come out with a decision? And the decision is in the follow-up. And that is what we're going to talk about tonight. But before we start, that word right in the center, trust. When people trust you, they will do business with you. When they know you, they like you, they trust you, they will listen to you. So remember, keep that in mind. We are in a people business. It's about building relationship. If you're out there trying to sell people products, and you're trying to push them on an opportunity, most people are going to take not just one step back, they're going to take more than one step back. So be careful how you connect with people, because it is a long-term relationship that you are creating with people. Network marketing is about building a family culture, and it takes time to build that family. So understand that as you're doing this on a daily basis, with the adding new contacts to your list, prospecting, inviting, following up. Prospecting, inviting, following up. And then, of course, there's the three-way call. That's critical as well.
Now, one thing that's very important, and I want to kind of state a saying that Jim Rohn used to share a lot, and I remember years ago using that line, is the wind blows the same for every single one of us. It is the set of the sail that will determine your destination. So I hope that makes sense to you, because the reason I'm sharing that is if you build your business and all you do is create culture around the incredible product we have, and that's all you do, that's all you cover, that's all that's posted in your WhatsApp group, you're setting yourself in a direction that will end up gathering customers. If this is what you want, wonderful. But I know that many of you are looking for a legitimate opportunity that can provide a tangible service to society, to the people you love, people you care, But in the same time, you do need to put food on the table. And if you're going to spend time sharing this on behalf of a company, might as well get compensated for it. So it is important to create balance. And this is what Tammy touched on. The set of the sail will determine the destination. The wind blows the same for every single one of us. So looking at this slide, it is not recommended as a follow-up to push your prospects or even your associates. That expresses you can't make the goose lay the eggs over and over and over and over. At one point, you're going to kill it. And what I mean by that is that if you are constantly pushing instead of building a relationship, understanding what their needs are, and fulfilling that need, if you're focusing more of your time on pushing your agenda for them to make a move, for them to buy the product, for them to, when you're going to sign up, when you're going to make the decision, this is when often people start walking away from you. So this is the message here is as you are following up, follow up based on the last course of action, based on what was said on the last conversation. And if you take notes, then you can follow up from where you left off. And if you caught on to their needs, then you could come up with some new information that can help them understand how this can best serve their needs. And if it's about the product, this is fine. But don't overlook the balance of sharing the fact that there's a compensation behind this particular consumption of this product where we can help you get these products paid for. It could start as simple as that. At least there's a balance between the product knowledge and the opportunity. And the last point is you can't just dance around the fire with your same 3-4 people. You need to go out there and build a team. Tammy touched on that also, and I want to reemphasize on that because if you're not out there constantly prospecting, which brings us to the next topic,
I think
you won't grow.
Every single level you need to be prospecting. 80%, a minimum of 80% of your time needs to be working this system. And only 20% of your time will be training your new people how to go through the system. Okay? You want to get people systematic as quick as possible, system dependent, not people dependent. And that's when you're going to create duplication. So when you decide to take that 2-week or 3-week or 1-month holiday, your business grows while you're gone because they're building their own businesses. Okay, so it's critical that you really get this system and that you're actively working the system, putting people through the pipeline. If you have 5 people in your pipeline, you're probably hounding 5 people all the time. You gotta have lots of people that you're going to be connecting with, because when you have lots of people, you don't have time to call that same person back 5 times a day. I'm just exaggerating, but for real, people do that. They call the same people over and over and over and over again. They don't get new people and they wonder why it's not working. They get frustrated. Okay, so if you don't want to be frustrated, go get new people because it's fun connecting with new people. I love it. I constantly do it on social media and in person. So if you look at the prospecting paradigm, understand, and this is also part of throughout the process, is it's a paradigm where you're putting people in the pipeline and not necessarily they're going to come out of that pipeline all excited, ready to get started. Does it happen? Yes, it happens. So don't think it never happens, because it does. If you catch the timing of somebody who's sick and tired of being sick and tired and is looking for something, they watch videos and they go, oh my gosh, I've been looking for this for a long time, I'm in. It's happened. But most people, it's going to take a few times. And obviously you built up some trust for somebody to want to get started right away too. So understand it's a process. So don't beat yourself up along the way. Just keep putting people in and following up down the road.
So I want to go back a little bit on January 7th. January 7th, we started the Success Cycle module. That module wraps all of the segments that we've been talking about since the beginning of the year, where we talked about your dreams, what you need to focus on and how to focus on your dreams, your why. And then we talked about your attitude towards yourself, towards the business, your attitude towards challenges. Do you react or do you adjust to different changes that are occurring, which is just evolution. It's just part of life. Nothing ever stays the same. And then we talked about building your lists. You need an inventory. You need a list to be able to build and work your business. If you don't have a list, you're not in business. You constantly need to build on that list. Even if you've been in business for a year and you got a team, you should still have a list that you should be focusing on following up. Introducing the opportunity, which leads us to the prospecting aspect. We talk about prospecting. How do you get into the conversation? And if you have not listened to these trainings, we do recommend to go back and listen to them to catch up with the trainings we've been doing up to what we're doing this evening. And then we talked about the inviting. There's a difference between prospecting and inviting. An invitation, often what happens is the interest is there. There's a genuine interest, and that could happen in the same sentence. It depends on your experience, and it depends on your prospect's interest, of course, right? This is a temperature you need to feel. Now, from that point on, after you've done the invitation, now you're talking about the following up. And that's why we talk often about the fact that the follow-up is 90% of your business. In fact, I'll go as far as 95% of your business. Because especially North Americans, if you talk about an opportunity, in their mind, oh, I've heard it all. They have no clue what you're talking about, but in their mind, they think they do. And because of that, they're skeptical. And because they're skeptical, often they may turn you around. So what happens is if they get an opportunity to really understand what we have with their tools through the process of following up, I assure you that a lot of these people that turn you away may turn around and says, why did I not see this before? And that's where follow-up is absolutely critical. So many of you here on the call, if you've talked to many people and these people have turned you around, do an inventory of that list and go back and revisit. Listen to our calls with the information we've been sharing, especially from the money-making activities, which is the prospecting and inviting and now the following up. Next week we'll be doing third-party credibility, which is a very important building block. And here's some examples on the follow-up process. See, the average person will take 4 to 6 exposure before they choose to get involved. Now think about your business. Think about what you have done. How many exposure have you done to most of your prospects? I bet you it's less than 3. It doesn't even measure up with the averages of 4 to 6. Do you understand where many people think that it's not working for them? It's because they don't follow through. And this is all in the follow-up. So obviously, we want to follow up for them to attend a presentation or an event or an in-home. That's the reason why at the beginning of the presentation, I talk about the calendar and posting your events on the calendar to let your team know where they are and where they can attend. Now, if you do an in-home, in our time and age today, you don't necessarily need to put your address on the calendar. Simply put your telephone number, your name, and the time and the date, of course, of the event, of your in-home. And if they want to come in, they call in. Most people that you will invite to your in-home knows you. They know where you live. So you don't need to promote your address. You can simply give it over the phone once you get to know the person who's coming in, right? That's just a kind of a safety clue I wanted to share with you here. Or it could be an exposure to a product, to try the product. Or a third-party introduction. We talked about third-party credibility call, which we'll be doing next week, right? And the following is the videos. If you go to GoSeeMax.com, take note of that. Go, just the way you would tell someone, go see, GoSeeMax.com. Now, in that domain points to a playlist. It's a YouTube playlist. And there's 4 or 5 videos there. The first 2 are the prospecting videos, which is the science video and the why trade time for money. And the last 3 are the actual presentation. I don't send the last 3 until they've agreed to get more information after they've seen the first one and the second one. Then I will send them the other 3. And that's the reason why I usually don't send people to the Go See Max right away. I will go myself to the Go See Max, copy and paste the link of those 2 videos, and I will put it into a text or in an email. That's pretty straightforward in our time and age. I think everybody should be aware of that. If not, do refer to your upline on how do I get this link and how do I send that to someone. Someone will show you this. Okay? So these are the videos that we share. Again, if they're interested after seeing the first 2 videos, then I say, okay, let me send you the complete presentation, which I'll send you the link called Go See Max, the first 2 videos you've already seen. You can skip those and then follow through with the last 3, which is the company, the product, and the business opportunity. Now, there's also webinars, right? Every Thursday, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and 9:30, 10 o'clock, right? That's because we also have a team on the western part of North America, which is Canada and the United States.
And our goal is to expand and have more.
That's correct, and that's what we're working on. We have some lists, scripts that we're prepared that will make sure that we look at and make that available for everybody, so everybody can start doing their own webinars. You can download the software Zoom.com. It's free, up to 5 people in a room. So at the end of the day, folks, there is no reason why you can't do this. And of course, it could be an invitation to go to the website. Now, personally, between you and I never send someone who is being introduced to this business or these products to the max.com for the very first time, because I find it's overwhelming. It's too much information. But if you do happen to send them for whatever reason, maybe you want to look at the clinicals and all of that, make sure that your ID is specified. Don't just send a max.com, because if they turn around, they go there and they call the company don't know where they come from. They may assign them to someone in the same area code where they live, and they'll end up in someone else's business. We have seen that many times. So make sure you send them to max.com/your ID.
And you train your people to do the same thing on their new associate orientation training. This is critical.
Yes, absolutely.
And as I look at this, what's really important is you're going through everything to know what it is to be followed up on. In other words, you got to go to presentations. You got to show up at events. You got to go to in-home presentations. You got to be on the products to be able to really get people to get a good feeling. Those stories are so critical. Third-party validation introduction. You got to be doing those. You got to learn how they're being done. I know people who ask me, what videos do I send out? I send them the videos and they just go and send them out. They don't even watch the videos. I recommend to be watching every video that you're sending to anybody. Go through the process yourself. You cannot teach people how to do it unless you've done it yourself. I hope that makes sense to all of you, because you need to do these things to grow and to be able to duplicate people doing the same thing in the business.
So the other point here after the website is the brochures. Now, I know that we have these brochures. We printed these brochures. I know Jasmine has printed a bunch of them on the past events. You can access these brochures under the Documents section. If you go under Documents and you go under Canada, USA, English, in the case of English, you'll notice that there's a lot of subdirectories there that represent what you might be looking for. Right? Often if you select associate within the associate directory, there's a lot of subdirectories there that contains a lot of data with, again, you might be interested in to build your business. Right? So folks, you got to go and click buttons. You got to investigate. You got to look for yourself. You can't just wait for someone to spoon feed you. This is the kind of business where we're all entrepreneurs, and we're here to help you, to guide you, to point you in the right direction, but you need to do the steps. You need to learn how to walk and then eventually run, right? So I really recommend, as homework, is go to the Active Team website and familiarize yourself with what is available to you, because sometimes seeing what's available to you, you may realize, oh my God, I can use this with this person, that person, that person, and suddenly there's a perfect opportunity to follow up with people. See, building belief with prospect equals success. And this is the key. 96 or 95% of your business will come from the follow-ups.
Okay, so what are the key concepts of doing this? So following up is doing what you said you would do. Professionalism will attract the right people. If you say you're going to follow up at a certain time, set an alarm. Do whatever it takes. I know we're human and sometimes things come up and there's urgent matters. Make sure you let that person know that there's an urgent matter. Okay, so be professional, because if you want to attract great people, they obviously, if you want to be coming into the business, you want to partner with somebody who knows where they're going. And that's what people are looking for. They're looking for people who know what they want, know where they're going, and know what they're going for. What are their goals, right? That's what they're following. So number 2 is the goal is always to set the next exposure. You have to know that next exposure. It may change in conversation. You may even be so great at connection that that next exposure they didn't even need, because whatever you said got them in. Okay, but always plan for that next exposure as you put people through information. Everyone is different, so you need to be writing things down, because if you don't, you'll forget, and then it's not good. It's not good business practice. I'm always writing notes in my prospecting process. And number 3, it takes an average of 4 to 6, as Chris said, in exposures for someone to join your business. Can you condense those exposures? Number 4, absolutely. The better you get, the more skills you learn in connection with people, the faster you can condense that. And 5, our goals is to understand where their interests lie. So you can move them to a direction. Most people are looking to get out of the crap that they're in today. So if you don't find out where people are at, that opportunity is going to be missed. So, really aim towards opportunity. That's what we do. There's going to be cases where the person can't even walk. They're having challenges. In that case, I'm going to, suggest that they try something that can help them. But there's always a business in mind when I'm doing this. So show them how Max can be a benefit for their lives. It's critical. You've got to make it all about them. They are the most important person in that conversation. And help them make a decision. Most people they don't know how to make decisions because they have careers where they're being told what to do. They grow up with their parents and they're being told what they do. To go to school, they're being told what to do. So as adults, you'll notice that most people who have a career, have a job, they need direction. They need to be told what to do. So you'll learn how to do this as you connect with people. Help people make decisions.
To add to Tammy's point, where people don't know how to decide and what they want. In fact, Steve Jobs, and I think everybody's aware of what I'm about to say, stated that when he created the Mac computer, he stated that, well, tell people what they need. And he was right. And this company is one of the most powerful companies in the world. Even though he passed away, his product is one of the best products in the world. Now, I know some of you may have different point of view, and I respect that. The point, I think you understand my message here. We live in a society where people are expecting to be told what to do. And the reality, folks, is we need to evolve from that. If you want to be successful at anything, you need to evolve from expecting having someone to tell you what to do. It's okay to expect to have some direction, which is what Tammy and I are doing here. For example, this evening, is we're giving you directions. From that point on, take the information and go ahead and try. And if you make mistakes, this is beautiful and perfect because mistake is a process. And when you make errors and mistakes, I assure you, you will learn. You are an intelligent human being, so you will learn. And through the learning process, you become better. But if you never go out there and try it and get uncomfortable and afraid of making mistakes because of that you don't go out and try, unfortunately, things won't move very fast for you. So here's some examples of following up. These are typical questions that are giving you a baseline that you can expand from. For example, we talked about the Goal CMAX, and there was 5 videos in there. We talked about the first 2 videos, which is a science video and a why trade time for money. Why do I send both? I'm not interested in gathering customers because for me personally, between you and I, it's a waste of time. If they want to be on the product, I'm very happy for them because it'll benefit. But I can't spend a lot of time there. I'll starve. I'm looking for people who wants to help other people. That's what I'm looking for. So the fact here is I will always send the why trade time for money. If that's going to offend them, fine. For me, that they're disqualifying themselves from working with me. That's the way I look at it. Now you have to choose how you want to go about this, but a why trade time for money kind of give people an idea that what we're all about. It does talk about network marketing, and it talks about a really good approach on the venture that's behind this. And that's what I'm looking for, someone who's open. So the typical question would be, what did you like best? Not what did you think. If you say what did you think, and is a person who happens to be a bit negative, well, the reality, folks, is you may have a negative response, and it may be difficult for you to come back from. Start on a positive note. What did you like best? Very, very important. Another question is, ask based on what you've seen. Are you interested? Are you ready to get started? Many of you have done calls, and you probably have noticed that I've done that. And in some cases, you signed these people up. And the fact is, I asked them, based on what you've seen, are you ready to get started? I want to know where they are to the finish line and how far we need to go and how much information and what he needs. Because that person, obviously, if they're not ready to sign up, they'll tell me what's missing, and then we can really work on what needs to be communicated for him to understand. So that's why I love this question. Based on what you've seen, are you ready to get started? You're not pushing. You simply ask them a legitimate question. Here's another one. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you see yourself in getting started? Now, as you can see, I'm not reading the question exactly as is. I'm giving you a scenario and as if I'm talking to a person. You know, Mark, based on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being, I tell them that 10 is the highest, right? In case he thinks 1 or 2 is the highest. So based on a 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, where do you see yourself? What number do you see? If I see a 7 and up, that for me is someone who's ready, pretty much ready to get started. We just need to kind of dot the I's and cross the T's, right? If someone says below 7, then we need to work, and that's when I'm going to find where their needs are based on question and the way we exchange, right? Ask what they need to know. So in other words, if in a case that there happened to be a 10, or excuse me, a 7, okay? I said, well, John, I really appreciate that. What would you need for you to get started? What's missing? That's the fourth question here that's been asked. And that's very important also, as you're sharing and you're giving them the answer and you're sharing your views based on their needs, share your excitement for the opportunity and the product. Not just the product, folks. You don't want to be just a customer gatherer, right? And this is what a majority of people in network marketing do, and that's why there is a majority of people that are not making the kind of money that we know you can make. And this is a decision you have to make. You have to decide that. I'm just telling you, giving you the facts as to why some are reaching incredible heights and the rest are not. Okay? Share your excitement for the opportunity and starting it sooner versus later, the benefits. And if you're talking to someone who wants nothing to do with the opportunity, do respect that. Don't try to convert them. You know they're a customer. respect this ground, and give them the information they need to become a customer and move on to the next person. Okay? And the one before last is third-party credibility. Use someone to validate your opportunity. Use someone to validate why you're excited, why this opportunity can benefit them based on their needs. And here's the last point. Once you get a new associate or a new prospect that has a genuine interest, or even that has an interest and you need help, get your upline, introduce your upline to your prospect, right, as your business partner, as a follow-up process, because they may have some clues and some ideas on what to share with you. So in closing, as we finish the call, Tammy, do you have a few more comments you want to add?
I think when you're very new, it's critical that you set up a three-way call, which you'll learn about the third-party validation next week, is to set up that call with your business partner, and don't try and do that follow-up on your own, because you may get objections and it might make you nervous, but if you get somebody on the call with you, you're able to sit back and listen to what objections are going to share, and you get to take notes and learn in the process. And then you'll become an amazing third-party validation for your people coming into the business. It's all about learning and growing.
So at this point, Tammy is going to go and get ready for her call. And I just wanted to close the call here, folks, where practice, practice, practice. Practice with an upline leader. Practice with people in your business. Practice with the people that brought you in, or people that maybe came in at the same time as you, or your upline, and just practice the scenario. Do some role playing in the follow-up process and helping them kind of move them along to signing up. That's what you mean by closing. Signing up for the opportunity, signing up to become a customer, agreeing to come to a webinar, agreeing to come to a presentation, and then from there kind of see how you feel. And often it becomes exciting when you practice. And it's even more exciting in real life when it's happening for you. So folks, that's the end of the call. I want to thank you for attending this evening. The call will be posted within the hour. And again, thank you. Next week, we're going to be doing third-party credibility. Excuse me. You don't want to miss this call. Okay, have yourself a wonderful evening and a wonderful week. Bye for now.